everyone, so I'm going to demo the skills we learned for our second week. Yeah, so let's create a new file from Illustrator. So we can go to File, here, File, New, yes, and we will give it a title, Pen Tool Drawing, because in this demo we were going to practice with pen tool drawing. Yeah, so you can give the width and the height you prefer, and that's great. Yeah, so for the pen tool, it is placed at the left column, the third one, which the shortcut key is the P. So if you tap on your keyboard on P, so you will access to the pen tool. So if you want to create some geometric lines or shapes by using pen tool, that's pretty straightforward. You can just click, 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 so they are all straight lines, right? Yeah, so we are practicing with the lines, so we are making sure the color with fill is turned off. So we click on the none. So we only need to apply the color for the stroke, which are the lines. Yeah, so if you go to the canvas, you can see we have some photo images for practice. So I want to drag this fox and this elephant into my Illustrator. So the first way you can do is you can click and drag. Oh, it's here, right? So let's get the elephant. So we can get the elephant later. So we will be focus on the fox right now. Yeah, so this is my reference sketch. So I want to create the same fox as this one. Yeah, so the first thing is I want to lower down the opacity of the fox, because I want to draw the things on him. So if I doesn't lower down the opacity, I cannot see what I'm drawing, right? So let's click on the fox, and you will see the selection here, opacity. If you click on this button, you can just drag the slide bar to lower the opacity of the image. So you can see how the opacity is changing. Yeah, so we just left it into like 15%, so we can still see the sketches and we can see what we are drawing, right? Yeah, so that's a good start. Yeah, so now I want to open the layers of my file. So let's go to the Windows, scroll down and go to the layers here. So this is the window of the layers. Okay, so I'm going to double click and rename it as the fox. I'm going to lock the fox image. I'm going to lock it, because if we don't lock it, it could be moved anywhere when we are making the creation on it, right? So I already locked the layer that I want it to be fixed. So in that way, when you locked the layer, you cannot do anything on this layer. You see there is a cross. So yeah, so let's click on the plus icon here, create a new layer. So this one I will name it as pen drawing. So on this, so if I'm selecting this layer, you can find that I can start my drawing here because it's not locked. So for the locked layer, you cannot do anything. So yeah, so let's go back to the pen drawing, and I'm going to apply the black for my stroke. Make sure you're selecting the pen tool. I'm going to draw this fox. Click, click, click. So it's pretty easy, right? So sometimes if you zoom in, you can see there is a minus mark appear besides the pen tool. So what if I continue clicking? It will delete my anchor point. I don't want that to happen, so whenever the minus point appear, I will hold on the shift key, then start from here and start drawing again. So here, oh, the minus mark appear again. Hold on shift, connect them, then I can continue. Here, hold on shift. Yeah, so you will be very careful when you are drawing. And yeah, keep drawing. But from here, there's nothing for me to draw, right? So I want to end from this point. But you can see that it's hard for me to end the point. So this at this point, we'll type on P on the keyboard. Yeah, as you type on P, you can see everything just you can just end up drawing from this point. And you can always restart from any points here. So if there is a minus mark appear, hold on shift and click. Continue. Yeah, hold on shift. Yeah, the minus point, so shift. Yeah, so I want to end from this point. So I type on P on the keyboard. Yeah, so you can repeat those actions until you complete your drawing. Shift, P, shift, drawing. Okay, so P, click, straight. Okay, P. Sorry, shift. Yeah. Shift. Yeah. So I will. I want to end from this point, so I tap on P. Right. So then, after you zoom in, you can see here are some, and the intersection part, the intersection points are not really good, right? So how do we get rid of points like these? Let's use go back to the selection tool, select everything, and we're going to click on the stroke, and we will change the corner into the round drawing to get rid of those bad points. So now everything just turns smoother. So in this way, if you go back to the layer and you toggles visibility, so we will click on this eyes, you can see the reference image has disappeared. Only the pen drawing elements are showing here. Yeah, so that's how to create geometric shapes by using the pen tool. For the pen tool, you can also use pen tool to create curvature lines. So what we just did is we keep clicking by using the pen tool, so it's creating the straight lines. So if we click and drag, it will give us a curvature line. Click, drag, click, drag. In this way, we can keep creating the curvature lines by using the pen tool. Yeah, so let's go back to canvas. I'm going to drag the elephant into my Illustrator. I just simply click and drag. So that's the easiest way. or you can right click, save the image into your computer, right? And you can, from the computer, from the Finder, you can drag it inside your Illustrator. So that's the same thing. Yes, I want to, so now I will draw this elephant by using the pen tool. So remember, we're using the pen tool, you are not on the curvature tool yet. So for the pen tool, if you click and drag, you will get a curve, right? And you will get two handles here. The function of the handles is it can determine the direction that your curve goes. So if you do back and forth like this, you can see how the direction are changing, and also the length of the handle will determine the level of the curvature. So the shorter it is, the shorter the handle is, you get less curve. The longer the handle is, you got more curve. Yeah, so now let's draw this elephant. So how about I want to put this image into the same layer of the fox. So I'm going to unlock the fox layer first. So a way I can do that is I type on Command C, and I click on the fox image layer and Command V. Yes, so now the reference photo is on the fox image layer, right? So the same thing is I'm going to lower the opacity here, just as what we did for the fox. Yeah, so I think 17 is okay. If we locked the fox image layer, you can see that you can do nothing on the elephant or the fox. So let's go back to the pen drawing layer. So from this layer, we can do the things we want. So yeah, the same thing, I'm going to apply the color for the stroke because I'm going to draw the stroke. So let's draw a curve of this curve that follow the form of this elephant by using the pen tool. Let's start from this point. Click here, click and drag. You see you can control the curvature to make it align with the reference photo. And yes, click and drag. Probably sometimes it's too much, so I will start from here. Click and drag, click and drag. Yeah, so sometimes I will need to restart from here. I want to probably we don't have to, but if you want to restart from this point, we'll tap on P, right? We'll tap on P so we can restart from this point. So you'll see the minus pointer, the minus mark appear again. So we hold on Shift, restart from here. Click and drag to make the line follows the reference photo. Click and drag. Click and drag. Yeah. Drag. Click and drag. So you'll see how the handle is working. Click and drag. So the handle, you can change the direction and you can adjust the length to determine the level of the curve. If it's not good, you can always tap on Command Z to undo, to go back to the last step. Click and drag, click and drag. Okay, so if it's not good, Command Z to go back to the last step. Yes, I'm going to do that really quick for the demo. Yeah, so as we end here, you will tap on P on the keyboard to get to the end point. Yeah, so that's the elephant. So if you find some part that you want to reorganize because some part is not smooth enough, so at this point, if you go to the direct selection tool, you will see all the anchor points appear again on your on the elephant, on the path of the elephant. So if you click on it, one of them, the handle will appear again. So in this way, you can adjust the handle, right? You can adjust the handle again to make it everything looks better. So like this point is not beautiful. So when this little circle, white circle appears, that means you can add a radio for the angle. Just click and drag this little circle. Or you can also try the smooth tool. Where is the smooth tool? Oh yes, the smooth tool is under the pen tool. They are belonging to the same family. Right click on the pencil tool and you will find the smooth tool. Yeah, then you can select how smooth, adjust how smooth you want the line to be here by dragging this to the slide bar. Or you can just draw it on the line to make the lines smoother. Just draw on it. Yes, now you can see the lines are much smoother. Yeah, so for any reason, if you think, let's go to the direct selection tool. If you want to add any anchor point on your design, you can go back to the pen tool, right click, and here are options to add an anchor point or delete an anchor point. If we add an anchor point at some place here, if we add some here and you use the direct selection tool, you can find you got an extra anchor point. Yes, or let's try to delete one. Right click, delete one to see what's happening. Delete this one. You'll see something happen. Alright. Command Z to go back. Yeah, so this is the function of our pen tool with adding anchor point or delete anchor point. Yeah, so after talked about the pen tool, let's get into the curvature tool, which is right beside it. So the curvature tool, which allows you to create curved lines in an easy way. So if you just keep clicking, it just keep give you curve, right? So it doesn't mean like you can't use curvature tool to create any straight lines. So if you click, double click, it will give you a straight line. Continue give you a straight line. So if you give up for double clicking here, it will turn back to a curvature tool, double click, straight line, no double click, it's a curved line, double click, straight line, if I don't double click, it's a curved line, double click, straight line, double click, straight line, if I don't double click, it's a curved line. Yeah, so that's the logical of the curvature line. Yeah, so now how about let's turn on the grid. So for the grid, you can click on the Adobe Illustrator and let's go to the settings. From the settings, you can go to the guides and grid, and you can set up the grid here. So you want your grid to be the color of your grid, the guides and the grid. So the grid will be like 4 inches. So every 1 inches subdivisions for 4. Yeah. So different number will result in different types of grid. Let's click on OK. So the grid is not showing up because you have to go into the view and go into the click on show grid. So you have to make sure your show grid has been turned on. Yeah, so then we can see our grid here, right? So the grid is something you can always keep the right proportion for your design. Yes, to make your design align up in a correct way and make everything more organized. Especially if you want to create something that is symmetrical, right? The grid would be really helpful, give you a really good visual reference. Like this, you can easily draw something that is symmetrical. Yeah, so when you are designing some logo icons with required more balanced proportion, I will always recommend you to turn on your grid. So when you want to turn off the grid, of course, go back to the view and hide grid. View, show grid. Yeah, so that's really easy to do that. So let's go back to the curvature tool. Let's do something fun. So if you click, double click, click, get a curve, double click, straight line, double click, straight line, and curve, double click, so you can play with that. So if double click, click, curve. Yeah, let's do that again. Click, click. Oh, sorry, we're using the curvature tool. Always check which tools you're on. Click, 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 double click, click once, double click, click once, double click, click once, double click, click once. So you can create something like this, right? Yeah, you can also try to click, click. Okay, it's switched back to the pen tool. Let's get to curvature tool again. Click. Or okay, we can start here. Click, click once, click once, double click, click once, double click, click once, double click, click once, double click, click once, double click. Yeah, something like this is kind of interesting. Yeah, so how about let's turn off the grid to see, go to the view and hide the grid. Yeah, so if I remember how do I increase the stroke width. Yeah, so let's review what we did for last class. We can give it a round cap. We can change it into a different form, and we can give it an arrow, right? decrease the size a little bit, and we can give it a dashed line. Yeah, and we can go to the width tool and to change the width of the line. So I'm just repeating what we did for last class. Yes, and we can also go to the brush library to change the line. Yeah, so these are something we talked about last class. Yeah, so now I'm going to just randomly draw some curvature paths. So now click on V to go back to the selection tool. So if I right click on the tab, so if I select tab on a path and I click on the path and start typing, what's happening is my tabs will follow the curve I just created, like this. This is a pretty fun thing to do, and you can select the text and you can set the tracking, give a distance between the text, right? Okay, it's the same thing if you create a circle path. Let's switch the view to the stroke, and you click on type on a path, click, and you can type in on the path. So whatever what kind of path you've been created, you can always make your text follow that path. So which is a really interesting function in Illustrator. Yeah, so that's some tips how we can use the curvature tool and the pen tool.